Grant Youth Al Jazal. It gives me immense pleasure to be here with you today at the 17th Award banner. This is not just a membership register, it is a formidable network with remarkable reach, influence, and leverage. Such a network can move mountains, it can transform communities, it can shape public policy, it can actively participate in governance. It can produce governors, senators, judges, ministers, and by the will of Allah, even leaders. When people of faith, competence, character unite behind a common vision, there is virtually no limit to what they can accomplish. Our new national headquarters stands today a living testament to that Kabirullah.
Allahu Akbar.
That magnificent building is far more than bricks and mortar. You must elevate it. As I conclude, let me remind you that leadership is not about position. May Almighty Allah bless this center, reward its organizers abundantly, grant wisdom to our youth, and continue to strengthen and serve the society of Nigeria.
Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Adyan al-Jazawi ihsan. Naam. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I would like to welcome Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I would like to welcome our participants, our panelists, the keynote speakers, and our well-wishers to this esteemed event with the best of greetings, which is Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. The story of Adyan Lagos Branch Leadership Seminar is something that was born of the dire needs that we identify in the Muslim community, which is a need for more positive role models and a need to encourage everyone to take up leadership positions. This need was identified first by the immediate predecessors of us in Adyan Lagos Branch, led by the former chairman of Adyan Lagos Branch, Alhaji Jubril Shashore. We'd like to thank them for having that vision to set this program up and for giving us all the tools that are required to also continue this into this world. The leadership seminar is supposed to bring youths from all walks of life, all societies, all student groups, and adults that are already working together, and let us all have a deep rethink about how we commit ourselves. As Muslims, we are encouraged to be ambassadors of Islam anywhere we are. And the central message that I would like everyone to take home here is that being a Muslim does not stop you from achieving any of your dreams. Being a Muslim does not mean you should encourage mediocrity. Being a Muslim means that you should strive for perfection. Being a Muslim means that you should always try to be the best wherever you find yourself and be an ambassador for Islam. I pray that the lesson that we hear today would be beneficial for us and count for the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for coming. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In case you don't know, this is the number one citizen of Adyan Lagos Branch. No, that's right. The next on agenda is the chairman of the day speech. So,
okay, next on the agenda is chairman of the day speech in person of Dr. Adyan Lawal, FCA Oba, MD, CEO, Lotus Bank. Dr. Adyan Lawal is a managing director of Lotus Bank with over 25 years of banking experience spanning non-interest and conventional banking. He joined the bank as executive director in 2022 and was appointed managing director in December 2025. Prior to Lotus Bank, he served as a pioneer, COO, and data managing director of GT Bank, Côte d'Ivoire, where he had led institutions to sustain profitability and operational excellence. He holds a Doctor of Business Administration from the University of Liverpool and is a Fellow of ICANN Association of CITN, Certified Islamic Finance Executive and alumnus of Columbia Business School and Lagos Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Dr. Adyan, FCA of our NDA.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the National President of Ansarudeen Youth Council of Nigeria, the Chairman of the Executive Committee of Adyan Lagos Branch, our distinguished scholars, respected elders, Chairman of the Planning Committee, our invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most especially young men and women in our midst today. I would like to start by saying Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I have a speech prepared. I will try and go through it within how long do I? How long do I?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. No, it's fine. We're in a leadership seminar and we must keep to time. So I will do 3 minutes and 10 minutes to keep. If you need this 10 minutes just near to me, I will stop whenever I like to. Thank you. Round honor to be this morning. I will try and run through my speech. The thing was traveling through chaos and change. He invites us to reflect on one of the defining relatives of our time. We are living through an extraordinary transformation. We are all aware. Technology, innovation, artificial intelligence, economic volatility, demographic shifts, and changing societal expectations are shaping the way we live, learn, and lead. The challenge before this generation, I don't know which one, whether it's mine or onward. But the challenge for this generation is that of not whether change will occur, but rather when we possess the wisdom, resilience, and the values to navigate it when necessary. History teaches us that period of destruction have produced humanity's greatest innovation. Likewise, Quran reminds us that trials are part of Allah's divine plan for refining character. We all know the stories of our prophets. From Prophet Musa. Yeah, you say something, please? Thank you. To Prophet Yusuf. To our beloved Prophet Muhammad. Remind us that the uncertainty is often pathway through which we can achieve greatness. So I'm going to skip some of the things I have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reminds us that for indeed with hardship comes ease. Indeed with hardship comes ease. I want to emphasize this part. If that's the only thing we go with from this seminar, it is very, very important. The verse did not say after hardship comes ease. It says with hardship comes ease. So within chaos and whatever we call it, there is these opportunities within chaos, and this is very, very important for us as Muslims. In my professional journey, I have come to appreciate that leadership is tested not during period of comfort, but during period of uncertainty. The moderator mentioned some areas where I've worked. I have worked like it is now in public setting. And honestly, I can't point to any month, any week, or any year out of the 28 years where there has been no chaos, crisis, changing going on, and so on. It is part of the human life, so we shouldn't expect that there will be any point in time where things will get better or things get easier. We came to this world, we became aware of Nigeria, knowing what Nigeria is today. Nigeria has not changed, it's just that the players are changing. And the question is, will Nigeria change? Personally, I don't think so. A society that is evolving, and whoever wants to survive the society must also prepare themselves to be successful. The lesson is very relevant to individuals. The world will continue to reward competence, but enduring success will always rest upon character. The world will continue to reward competence, but enduring success relies on character, relies on values. I will be therefore to offer 4 reflections. First, pursue excellence. The chairman mentioned that earlier on. In everything we do, we must ensure that we strive to be the best. Second, protect your integrity. Without integrity, the human person is empty. I know what it means for somebody to be empty. And there is no small integrity and there is no big integrity. Integrity is integrity. As much as you commit to, and I'm not throwing shade, as much as you commit to doing something at any point in time, you must just get it done. You know, I was leaving home today around 9, and my colleague told me, don't go yet. They won't start early. Leave home by around 10 o'clock. Or like 10:45, 11 o'clock. And I said, I would rather wait than to leave home. I already committed to 10 to 1. So no matter how small it is, once you commit for it, you're not going to make it, it's fine. Even at 9 o'clock, it's a 7 minutes journey, and there was traffic on the way. It's a different story entirely. You must have done your own best to ensure that you try to honor whatever commitment you have. Third, I have mentioned striving for excellence. I have mentioned the third is lifelong learning. The occasion that I have 30 years experience. Sorry, I apologize. Truly, I've been in banking all my life, about 29 years. Truly, I have 2 years experience. Because banking in 20 years ago is not relevant. So I think I have 20 years experience. Of course, of how this manual to analog, now in digital age. So really, I have 2 years experience. He also mentioned that I have FC in 20, okay, I qualified as a chartered accountant in 2001, FC 3 years after, but accounting practice has moved. So if I'm basking on, I have FC. So I mentioned excellence, I mentioned integrity, I mentioned commitment to learning. We have no choice but to continue to learn. And finally, we need to cultivate the culture of resilience through tawakkul, which simply says, which really admits us to pray as if we will not work and work as if there is no prayer. If we do our part, then we leave the rest to our Creator. And it's to be nice to remind us from the Holy Quran again. Whoever puts his trust in Allah, then it is sufficient for him. So for us, we'll just continue to strive and do our best. Our nation requires a generation of leaders who combine intellectual competence with moral courage. Our nation requires leaders who combine intellectual competence with courage. These are not easy combinations to pack together. Intellectual competence. You may have FCA, DBA, BSc. That does not mean you have intellectual competence. You could have gone through school. You know what we do as students. Some of us are masters on exams. We know how to pass exams. We can't necessarily burning the candles. But you need intellectual competence by continuous learning and also moral courage to do the right thing, regardless of the pressure that we face. People who are innovative without compromising ethics, ambitious without becoming arrogant, and successful without forgetting their responsibility to society. Leadership is ultimately our service. It's about creating value for others and making every institution stronger than we found it. So the young people gathered here today, they don't know their way of change. Prepare for it, build knowledge, strengthen your faith, develop your skill, and let your character distinguish you. Let your achievements reflect excellence, but let your conduct reflect a star. Let your achievements reflect excellence, but let your conduct reflect a star. The greatest form of drama is often a life of integrity and service. As I conclude, I'll give you 10 minutes. I'm doing 10 minutes. You don't come on, you don't tell anything. I'm asking under 10 minutes. Promise to step down once it's 10 minutes. As I conclude, I encourage all of us to embrace change with confidence while remaining firmly anchored in our values. The future belongs not simply to those who are intelligent or wealthy, but to those whose principles remain constant while their thinking continues to evolve. The future belongs not simply to those who are intelligent or wealthy, but to those whose principle remains constant while thinking continues to evolve. May Allah grant us wisdom in times of uncertainty, steadfastness in times of trial, and humility in times of success, and courage to live with integrity wherever it places us. Amen. Let us pray who are living so long.
Thank you so much, sir, for the inspiring message. We appreciate Dr. Adyan is here. Thank you so much for the inspiring message. We are now abundant. The key message to pick from everything Dr. has said is to pursue for excellence, portray integrity, commitment to live like a king, commitment to live, keep learning, cultivate the core resilience. Don't be afraid of change. Let your achievements reflect excellence, and let your conduct reflect Islam. Take example now, once again, sir.
Also, we recognize is an oversight now. One of our icons in Adyan, the president of magistrates, Abdulatif Khalid in Jamunu, the Ilé Officer. Also, Alhaji Sharon Shitu, recognize you.
We recognize Ajia Wasila Tajalule. Welcome. We recognize Ajia Memunot Ajishofe and Ajia Daniyat Olasokomi.
So next on our agenda, so before we move on, recognize the Council Amira, President of Ajia, Miriam Ayodele. You are welcome. Also the second Vice Chairman of Adyan Lagos State Council, the President of Alhaji Yusuf Olamide Salami. You are very welcome, sir. So next on agenda is the keynote address. The person of Mr. Bashir Said Adewale. Mr. Said Bashir Adewale is the Managing Director or CEO of Meristem Stockbroker Limited and a distinguished capital markets professional with over 2 decades of experience, spanning investment research, advisory, business development, finance and operation. He holds an MBA from Lagos Business School, a bachelor degree in economics from Obafemi Awolowo University, and a national diploma in statistics from the Polytechnic Ibadan. He is a fellow institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, authorized leading clerk of the Nigerian Estate Group with additional executive training from Harvard Business School. He serves on the Governing Council of the Chartered Institute of Stockbroker and contributes actively to education and leadership development. With a strong passion for STEM and youth empowerment, he is widely respected for his strategic leadership, institutional growth expertise, and commitment to financial market development in Nigeria. Let's welcome Mr. Bashir Said Adewale, FCA, MD, CEO, Meristem Stockbroker.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa barakatuh wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa adahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. Kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad. كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. I will start by appreciating Adyan for giving me the privilege for inviting me, the president of Adyan as well as the man of occasion. Thank you for having me around. I want to start my registry because of time. The task before me today is giving a keynote speech on the themes of this year's event, which is thriving through chaos and change. And from my background as I've just read now, I'm a market man. I work in the capital market. So inshallah, my keynote address will center around chaos in the market space. And I want to draw similitude. How does that apply to us? And what lessons can we learn from that? Inshallah, Allah assist me passing the message across to us. And even that is the theme is driving through chaos and change. And I give it a sub-theme, which is lessons from the market, and of course from faith, for leaders of the turbulent age. And as we all are aware, from the speech of the chairman of the as well as my elder brother who also spoke a little while, speaking about the peculiarity of the current times we live. Is a vocal world, so to speak. So we're in a turbulent age, as we're all aware. And I would say about this year's theme, talking about chaos and change. There are three key words in the theme of this year's today's event, which is thriving, chaos, and change, right? So when we talk about chaos, we talk about turbulence. And I would say that turbulence isn't necessarily a threat. A marketplace, there will always be chaos. And in the midst of that, people make fortunes, right? And it depends on how are you able to manage the chaos. And how are you able to manage the chaos and the changes that we have in it. Not only to survive, but to thrive. And my conversation will center around that today, inshallah. As we're all aware, the world today is no longer free. It's about chaos. And it has never been as chaotic as this. We have never seen this level of chaos before. And it will never. It's not a cause, it's just the reality of our time. For one challenge, the fight that is taking place in the Middle East is having impact on us in Nigeria, in Lagos, and everywhere in the world. And that is the complexity of our time today. And that is about chaos, and that is about turbulence. The second is about leadership. And we know very well that leaders aren't formed in calm waters. They are formed in the middle of the storm. And as my brother alluded to in his speech, as leaders, you are only paid to solve problems. And you are only choosing whether paid as we have in the private sector or when you are in the public sector, when you are in an organization like Adyan, in a religious thing, as a leader, you are meant to solve problems. If there is no problem to solve again, there is no need. So meaning that, and I tell myself, as somebody mentioned earlier on, or sometimes to me, the day you come to the office and there is no problem to solve again, then why are you there? Why are you the managing director? So why are you the supervisor? Why are you the leader? You must always have problems to solve. And so you are hired to solve problems. So leaders, and in the middle of that, we have leaders. And it can be calm. When it is calm, then everybody can act. But it takes those that have the qualities of leaders to steer the ship of the organization through the chaotic or turbulence to make a difference. And of course, with chaos and we have leaders, the essence is the aim is not to survive, as I mentioned, as the topic of today's event reflects. The aim is not to survive the chaos. There's a distinction between surviving and thriving. So the aim is to learn to lead within the chaos and to solve and to thrive. So today, I've marked the presentation of my keynote speech into different sections. I'll speak about why the chaos and the condition and the change are the conditions of our time. Not necessarily enemies of our time. Is the law of our land, we must always have challenges. Then how do you make through those challenges to make way and to make prosper through that? And what are the lessons? If I've told you I'm a market man, I work in the capital market. And my conversations today would, I'll weave it around the market, but of course, tailor to our needs, our expectations. There are lessons that we can learn if we take it to markets in terms of chaos and changes that take place. How can we still thrive in the middle or in the midst of that chaos and the changes that we have? And we have examples in terms of leaders who have navigated through the chaos and turbulence, and they have made and they are still making changes in our society. So why should our own be different? We don't have any excuse. So, as I mentioned earlier on, every working day I go to my office, and all of us will go to our workplaces. In the market where I operate, the market begins in chaos. So when the market opens, prices of securities, of investment products move in different directions at once. And of course, there's fear. Because of fear, because of greed, and all sorts of things. And of course, even when you are clever, if you are the most clever person in the room, you don't know how it's going to end. You can only make an attempt. There's a popular saying in Yoruba, right? So even if you are experts and you understand the market, it doesn't always work out every day. So it can also work against you. So Allah has a perfect knowledge of everything. We must also know that. And of course, every single day the fortunes are built in this chaos. So, in spite of the chaos, people still make a living. People not only making a living, they thrive, they succeed, and they make changes in our society. So, you have to learn to break through the chaos, respect it, and act within the discipline inside it. And this is the story of a leader's life when he's talking about chaos. In today's world, as someone would say, that we are inheriting the most volatile world in living memory. Sometimes in 2010, that's about 16 years ago, or then I heard about the word Volca. One of my bosses in the office went for Harvard. And through that program, One of those was when he came back to teach us, train the trainers. He was talking about how the world today is volatile. And so that talked to my head and I read more about it. What is volatile? Volatile means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So the world we live in today is volatile. And you may not appreciate what that means. And most of us really appreciate it. When we were in school and we are being taught theory, until you see the practicality of that theory, it won't come to mind. And in recent years, from 2000 to date, we have examples of what it means when they say the world is volatile. What does it mean? Look at COVID. How it ravaged everywhere, even the developed economies, the best of technologies and innovation and all that. Everybody ravaged. Everybody was caught unawares. The world was standing. That is an example of a volatile world. How else would you have planned against COVID? How else? How else? So that is a volatile world. It's about volatile. It's uncertain. It's ambiguous, and the rest of it. So, talking about in the marketplace or in Nigeria as an example, you have currency, cost of living issues, AI, automation, information overload, and the rest of it. And people complain every day about Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that, things are expensive, yes they are. But in the middle of that, people are making way. So which side are you? Are you on the side of those that complain? Or on the side of those that thrive in the midst of chaos? So you ask yourself that question and you try to answer it as well. So chaos isn't an enemy. It is the arena. It is. So play within that arena, make the best out of it. As Allah says in the Quran, Surah Al-Asr, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. With hardship comes ease. And indeed, hardship, there will certainly be ease after hardship. So that is the Sunnah of Allah. And we should know. So that is his ways of doing things, as we all are aware. And lessons from the markets. Also take a look at. When market is coming down, when prices are down, maybe it can be in our own market, counter market, stocks, securities, or in your market. Even when you go, you are a trader, you have bought commodities at X level, and prices are coming down, what do you do? And the rest of it, there's the chaos, there's the volatility. How do you respond to that? So, definitely, you ask everyone, you ask yourself about volatility, and you take the most advantage out of as investors. Market moves in cycles. There are periods of high and periods of low, and that is how market works anywhere in the world. There always be movement in the market and chaos in the market. But what strategies do you have in place to navigate through that volatility? And when prices are falling, what lessons do you draw from there, and how do you steer the course to ensure that you are not, you protect value, and also as an individual as well as a business, you also survive that and you thrive thereafter. One of those things you do, and for all individuals, which I would say when we are going through chaos, is about diversification. And I would say that diversify, as we always tell, we tell investors, diversify your portfolio, right? And it's also applicable to individuals as well. How do you diversify your foundation? Never let a single outcome decide the entire future that you want to build. But you need to stay concentrated with what matters most. So how do you diversify? How do you ensure that you have different strategies? Okay, so be if you are a student or you are a businessman or a woman, how do you ensure that you don't put all your eggs in a single basket? How do you also ensure that you read the market or you understand the challenges or the chaos that will come within the space where you operate? And how do you ensure that if an event happens, an unexpected event that happens does not derail you from the path that you have set for yourself? So diversify your foundation. Learn more skills as you know. We say that what is your cycle? God are those days that is only one hustle that you face. That is part of people diversify their portfolio now. You are in a paid employment. You also have the side hustle that does not interfere, that does not necessarily affect your main job or put your employer at a disadvantage. But yet, you have other hustles by the side so that you can, instead of driving time, you can put that time into productive use. That is about diversification. Because, as we say, the world we live in today is quite volatile. So, diversify your foundation, learn more skills, you have more sources of income, and the rest of it. Because when you concentrate in one thing, the world is volatile. And when chaos comes, it will be difficult to really balance. And of course, also let compounding do the heavy lifting for you. It's more and a consistent action for over time. It builds resilience and multiplies and, as we say in finance, the power of compounding. Likewise, in terms of attitude, in what we do, a little action every day that is consistent, you can see how it will compound over the period of time. That is the power of compounding. And you should also know, no return, there cannot be risk. You take some level of risk when you also expect a reward. Reward lives far on this. It lives on the far side of the calculated risk. Take some calculated risk. Never become complacent and understand the fact that calculated risk is encouraged with framework or with homework rather. Recklessness is not. When you are taking risk, it must be calculated. Don't be reckless in your decision. And of course, you can't be coward. Settle for average, don't be mediocre. So you should keep reserves. So you survive the hard season on what is called the easy one. Meaning that when you have good time, and you make ensuring that you also keep reserves, because when turbulence comes, how do you ensure that you can balance or you can even out? Every resilient institution owns reserves. Liquidity can reach when market freezes. So individual needs the same. And of course, there are 4 levels to that. It can be financial, it can be physical. Financial savings before luxury. Physical, you rest and health reserves and all that. I'm being told time is up. Okay, let me give you another example, which is quite profound here. I'll give an example of Dangote Refinery. Everybody knows Dangote, right? And the story of Dangote Refinery is everywhere. And when nobody believed that project is going to be a success, he had to build his own infrastructure and the challenges he went through. He had a vision, he went through chaos. When you say chaos, he went through chaos. The information is on the internet. You can read more about it because of time, you need to go into it. But has it triumphed today? And thanks to Dangote, perhaps, I don't know how much you're buying and the rest of it. But the product, what you see today is the product of chaos and changes and the stage because, and of course, is striving today. The second example I'll give is the example of our brother in the US, Akim Olajuwon. You can read more about his story. If Dangote is too far from you, maybe Akim Olajuwon is going to be too far as well. You can read more. People would say that during Ramadan he used to fast, and he still attained the pinnacle of his career in the US. And he was never a basketballer before he left the country for the US. But today, and the kind of impact he makes in the society he is today as a Muslim is quite profound. In all the change, you fix the anchors. What are the anchors of the changes? Integrity. That is their manner. Your name is the one aspect that compounds for life. The one that the one loss you can never recover. So protect your name. The integrity is very critical. But what is the purpose? Know why you live. And the purpose is the compass that still when the map is useless. Your purpose is your compass. Even when it's useless, you still have your purpose. And the third one is the faith. Your iman in Allah, the belief in Allah is quite important. This shows your anchors. What is your integrity? That's your name, your personality. The purpose. What is your objective? What do you set out to achieve? And what is the next anchor is your faith. It's quite important. What all of us here today is faith. And because I'm out of time, I've been warned out of time. I'm trying to quickly go through the rest of the presentation. And I will take us through this, talking about your faith, because everything we do today, what has brought us here today is Islam. You must trust in Allah, tawakkul. Tie your camel, of course. Put your trust in Allah, but you must also tie your camel and walk diligently towards your goal. And you should be patient as a strategy. Strategy. And of course, ihsan, good work, good deeds. Excellence as worship, doing the work as it is seen, because it is. You must have that philosophy in terms of excellence in whatever you do. And of course, the last one is gratitude. Gratitude. It steadies you in plenty, and of course, when you are in want, it is quite important. You must be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in every circumstance you find yourself. And there are several examples I won't be able to go through where Allah has blessed us in terms of tawakkul, in terms of ihsan and shukr. And so we thrive during this case. Market only rewards those who create values for others. Market rewards who create values for others. Ask yourself what you are doing to create values for others. And you should also remember the power of the science of small habits. Small habits. If you have read the book, James Clear, The Atomic Habits, it speaks extensively about the power of habits. Consistency. Whatever you do, you should be consistent with it. Even in faith, be consistent. Small act and you are consistent, you get better results. That's quite important. And personal lives, we should be consistent. There will always be chaos, but stay the course and be consistent in what you do. Quite important. And lastly, to draw the curtain, what is your practical playbook, your strategy? Invest in yourself every day. However small it is, it should be deliberate. Even 1 hour, 30 seconds, or 30 minutes, or whatever it is, you should always learn. Learn every day. It is compounding into the future. And in 5 years, you will be as regards the results that you have. Build your network early. And this speaks to the younger ones. Build your network early. Your network, sometimes people say determines your network. Network is quite important. Relationships are the only assets that appreciate while you sleep. And it starts before you feel ready. Start before you feel ready. Then you must find mentors and guides. Who is your mentor? And who are the people that guide you? Whatever field of life that you are, you get mentors. You should give back as well. Give back deliberately. Teach people as well life of service as Adyan does as well. Give back to the community, and it's quite important. And of course, protect your anchor, your character, your faith, and others. And we should be careful. A word of caution here. 4 traps that are really good people. Panic selling. In market, there is what we call panic selling. When there is a news, you quickly go and sell your assets. Panic selling. Don't also panic sell your dreams. Abandoning a worthy cause or a goal that you have set for yourself, even when in the middle of the chaos, is not worth it. It could be most expensive for you. So do not panic sell your dream. And comparison trap. Measuring your character or your chapter 1 against someone else's chapter. You are measuring your chapter 1 with someone else's chapter 20. You should be careful about it. You run your own race, quite important. Get really quick thinking. It doesn't work. Even Dangote does not become Dangote overnight. It's through hard work, consistency, and resilience, dedication, and all that. And become in the middle of storm. And that is my last remarks. Chaos and change will not end. They are the weather of times. But weather doesn't decide who arrives first. Preparation does. Your character does. Your patience does. And your faith does. Diversify your foundation. Let your good habits compound. Take calculated risks. Keep your reserves and anchor it all to values that never move. Your values. Do that, and you will not merely survive in this turbulent age, but you will lead it. You will thrive. May Allah in His infinite mercy grant all of us clarity in confusion, courage in fear, and steadiness in every storm that we face. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.
We appreciate your inspiring message. Thank you so much, Dr. Said. May Allah continue to increase your knowledge and reward you abundantly. Ladies and gentlemen, I outlined key messages from everything Mr. Bashir has said, and it goes: learn to live within the chaos and thrive. Protect value. Survive through that and thrive through it. Diversify your foundation. Learn more skills. Where is no return, there cannot be risk. Take some calculated risk. Don't be reckless in your decision, and don't be a mediocre. Put your trust in Allah. Be patient. You must have excellence in whatever you find yourself doing, and show gratitude, then build your network early. Before we proceed to the business for today, we would like to appreciate the presence of some organization in our midst. We would like to appreciate MICA, Movement for Islamic and Cultural Awareness, Lagos State. For Islamic Culture and Awareness, Lagos State. We appreciate No Takafo. They are more like an investor to us.
Yes.
We appreciate. Thank you so much.
The headline sponsor for last year.
Yeah. We appreciate.
Also, we appreciate all Adyan Lagos State and so Adyan branches, all zones. We appreciate everyone. We also appreciate Lotus Bank, and also to inform us that they are the prize sponsor for this year's edition, in common with No Takafo ADS Lagos branch. Also, we appreciate the Lagos State University Medical Student Association, ASUMSA, for giving us this space and for putting everything intact for us. So, we are moving to the main business for today, which is the panel discussion. So, we're inviting all our panel one after the other. So, the first is Mrs. Moyosore Musoraya Alimo Akamo Balogun. Mrs. Moyosore Musoraya Alimo Balogun is a distinguished leadership strategist, employee relations leader, and human resource professional with over 26 years of experience in the Lagos State Public Service. She currently serves as Deputy Director and Head of Employee Relations at the Ministry of Economic Planning, where she plays a pivotal role in promoting employee welfare, strengthening workforce engagement, and fostering organizational productivity. She holds a higher national diploma in business administration from Polytechnic, a Bachelor of Science degree in economics, and a master's degree in public administration from the now first choice of University, Lagos State University, Lasso. Mrs. Akamwalo is an associate member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, a member of the Chartered Institute of Personal Management, and a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Local Government and Public Administration of Nigeria. Beyond her professional accomplishments, she is deeply committed to youth and women empowerment and remain active, engaged in community development through her service. Let's make welcome Mrs. Moyosorayo and Imo Akamwalo. All right. Once we go to the shop of plan for one of our, for the MD very time, he has a flight to catch up. So, let's start. We call on the chairman of the day, Dr. Adyan, to do the presentation.
So next on our panelist is Adyan Kabira. She is a film producer and director of Kafi Communication Concepts, Kafi Created Limited. Adyan Kabira Mojisola, known as Debo Kafi, is a seasoned film writer, a producer and director with a bachelor's degree in mass communication, a practicing Muslima and a director at Kafi Communication Limited. She is the driving force behind the Kafi Dawa Group, which promotes Islamic teaching through impact drama production and as a date with Asma, Us Gate, and Invisible Luggage. She is the conventional of the Round Table series, a platform for Islamic consciousness and through a foundation, Duro Oke Foundation. She is Duro Orike Foundation. She supports our less privileged in various communities while also leading Kabis Creative Limited with Westwine, notable for skincare products and bakery service. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mrs. Adyan Kabira Kafi.
Also in our midst, the next is Dr. Saeed Ahmad. Dr. Saeed Ahmad is a consultant general and laparoscopic surgeon. Currently serves as head of surgery and director of clinical service and trained at General Hospital Odon, Lagos. He holds an MBBS, MWCS, and a fellowship in minimal access surgeon. Alongside training in liver and healthcare management from the University of Washington and Pan-Atlantic University. He is a former chairman of the Medical Guild in Lagos State, where he promoted improved healthcare delivery and staff welfare. He also served as an associate lecturer at Eko University of Medicine and Health Science. He is recognized for advancing modern surgical care, particularly in complex, open, and minimally invasive procedures. Resource-limited setting is also an imam, area mentor, and community leader. Let's welcome Dr. Sahid Ahmad. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Next on our panelist is a director of operation at Tony Elumenis Foundation, alumnus of Oxford University. Ladies and gentlemen, let's join our hands together as we welcome Dr. Hakeem Onosoya on the stage. Welcome, sir.
And to moderate this panel discussion is no other seen by Mr. Lawal Ibrahim Ademola. Mr. No, I know his biography of hand.
You don't know. Because we learn the shaitan in your dream, so I found something about Hakeem Onosoya. I found one thing about who Dr. Hakeem Onosoya is. So he is the director of operations at the Tony Elumenis Foundation, where he leads the strategic and operational execution of the foundation's programs, which gears towards catalyzing the next generation of African entrepreneurs. Prior to that, Dr. Hakeem Onosoya led the division of the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund, where execution of the first ever female founders and funders program, which was an innovation to bridge the gender gap in the founders and funders ecosystem in Nigeria. He's a multiple award winner and was the recipient of the 2002 Ooni of Ife's Royal African Union Leadership Forum Award, the 2023 winner of the Future Award Africa for Governance, and the 2004 Prize Africa Emerger Award. Kebirola. I needed to choose that in because on this side, Dr. Hakeem Onosoya is more or less closest to me. Brothers and sisters in the Adyan, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Astaghfirullah, subhanallah, wa la ilaha illallah wa la hawla wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Adada khalqihi wa rida nafsihi wa zinata arshihi wa adada kalimatihi. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu. Give all praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Lord of the worlds, the sustainer of the universe, the one who guides each and every one of us. May his peace, blessings, and benediction be upon the noblest of mankind, Muhammad. May Allah bless the soul of Sheikh Zubio. He said, Muhammad, Sheda, Aoni, Dawe, Tayo, Fita, Awadaru, Anabi. All praises and adoration to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are gathered here today under a very powerful theme, truthful chaos and change. And whether we like it or not, there is rapid transformation currently ongoing. Yeah. In fact, I was discussing with a colleague yesterday, and I was feeling ancient such that we never had AI when I was an undergraduate. And I didn't graduate about decades. It wasn't as if I graduated some 20 years ago. And you give students assignment now, all they just need to just punch and GPT. You see certain conversations, some assignment that are submitted, you look at them, you don't know. It's not possible. So transformation is currently ongoing everywhere. There's disruption, there's economic pressure, there is social changes. In fact, that often leaves individuals and communities struggling to find a balance. It's nowadays, I'm not sure, I'm sounding a bit ancient. Somebody will ask me, will be like, zodiac sign, that's interesting. I'm in the generation, that's good. So social changes are currently happening. And Allah has said, and I'm really grateful that our chairman and our keynote speaker mentioned this, for Inama al-Usri. So brothers and sisters in Islam, what more compass do we need as Muslims than our prophet, who exemplified leadership through chaos? Rasulullah was composed, was strategic. Despite the economic blockade, despite the religious power and God Israel. So how else can we thrive through chaos? And it's on these notes, brothers and sisters in Islam, that I'm going to be starting my first question to members of the panel today. And it will be, what does striving truly means to you as a person? What does striving truly means to you? And how can we, let me say we, as young persons, measure achievements and material gains? What does striving means to you? And how can we measure? Because whether you like it or not, I'm working, the other person is working. Someone else is saying, it's like, this person is doing better than I am. How can we measure success as individuals? Let me start with my Dr. Akamo Balogo. Is that mine?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa I'm honored to be here, and I'm so happy that as I've been youth development, this is trying, yes, navigate through, yes, the chairman actually talked about this. I'm the keynote father that presented this keynote. I joined the service 26 years ago as an executive officer. At that time, an executive officer is on grade level 7. And I looked at myself, why not? Why should I be on grade level 7? I should have been on grade level 8. And then the struggle continues. And one day, the chairman of the board of internal review at that time called and said, "You, this woman, you are applying on grade level 7. That was the qualification." And I said, "Woman, that couldn't have been." And you see, navigating through chaos, looking for why you want to be. It's hard work, dedication, resilience, commitment. We all do the same things. We have the skills of sales. And at the last interview, we were told we have so many of sciences and very, very few get to the top to become a permanent CEO. If you want to get to the peak of your career, you have to do something different. You have to be different. You have to work different. You don't work hard, you work smart. So when you put on an extra effort, your future depends on everything. Successful people were not born differently. They don't do things differently. They wake up earlier, they read, they work extra hard, and it takes them to where they are today. So, if you want to move to the top, survive the storm, you have to find your navigation to get to where you want to be. And I want to say to my sisters and brothers, you can be whatever you want to be. You can get to where everybody wants to be in life. What you need to do, attitude, dedication, hard work, resilience, and then so without this, you can actually achieve and get where you want to be. We have been told that this will continue. So what do? This is our message. So,
Wa Alaikum salam. Thank you so much, for this. Adyan Kabir, just to take on the question. What was striving to you? Ma'am? Who gives yourself? Dr. Albert, it's a pleasure meeting you at close quarters. I've always been seeing you from afar. So this is the first time I'm meeting you at close quarters. So as I share with the house, and as someone who works with, so what does striving mean to you, and how do you can measure growth and success?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a pleasure for you to be in close quarters. Let me start by acknowledging my good fortune being a part of this, and when Roy started pestering me, we spoke quite as in the run-up to this program. And one thing I made very clear in those times is how happy I am that Adyan is what we are seeing now. There are a number of other stuff that we discussed that time regarding what direction Adyan is to pursue. And that is where I would start answering your question. Thriving, and then the instruments of measure. See, you do not measure things that you do not know. So the first thing in dealing with handling chaos and how you thrive in it is to be able to first develop a definition of what thriving is. Your definition. The world is very reticular now. Things are a lot more jumbled up. The contributors to distraction, and I dare add in parentheses, destruction, are so many. Then you have to reach out. You have to go and climb before you fall down and break your arm. I.e., before you get hurt in those days, you needed to go out of your way before harm. If you just maintain your, you get it from me. Now, destruction is pursuing you all around. Distraction is pursuing you all around. Chaos is what everything seems to present itself. So the first thing to be handled is the definition of thriving. So the use of indeed the Muslim of today needs to define who he is, even in the midst of identity crisis that is circulating around him. That's the very first thing, and in my mind, fundamental thing that today's youth needs to handle. Because so many things, so many imageries, so many pictures present themselves to you competing to win over. You have so many models on the screen, on the virtual and the real thing in front of you. You have the Muslim sister model, you have the quote-unquote successful career woman model, you have the, again, highly influential quote-unquote feminist model, and then you have what the West wants you to be, and then you have what the economy wants you to be, you have what insecurity wants you to be, and so on and so forth. And then you have what the family wants you to be. So we need to define. Number two, this definition has to also be categorized. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us as a complete set of beings who deal in the physical, emotional, mental, and ultimately the spiritual. So you need to define who is the person wanting to handle this skill. Because if you don't define it, the instruments you use to handle it will only be limited by what you understand. If you see the chaos of today is only financial chaos, your definition of what the challenges are and how to strive in it will begin and end only with the thought of how to make money. And make money you will pursue and pursue and pursue and have mutakathir. Unfortunately, if this is not regulated, you find yourself floating, you will always float. Why? Because you will end up not being the poorest person. No matter how much you do, you cannot be the richest person. You cannot be. You pursue the money you have. When you begin to think you have money, is when someone else will make what you have look like being broke. So, this youth cannot make the measure of thriving only by growing. Just want to grow. Just want to grow. Because if limited satisfaction evaporates, no matter what you have, you will always be wanting more. You don't have a job, you are looking for a job. You get a job, you want promotion. You get promotion, you want to raise in pay. You get raise in pay, you want additional allowances. You get additional allowances, you want, and so on and so forth. It doesn't end. You need to define it. We also need to define thriving socially. A complete Muslim youth is not a maladjusted individual. Many today among our peers and younger ones have maladjustment problem. Because so many images are bombarding you, you become more awkward, fitting into your environment. Okay, they say this is corporate environment, so you modify the size of the hijab. You know, from jilbab, it will climb up to the knee. Okay, that is for salatu. Okay, but then there's an Islamic program. It has to be like up and down. So the hijab rises from salatu knee length, and then gets to the navel. It is still very acceptable. But then, day after tomorrow will be Monday. We are still a Muslim sister, isn't it? But you need to adjust. So the Muslim sister is going to the office. So what is here becomes a triangle, you know? It climbs here. And as it is climbing up, it is also receding backwards. So from Jilbab, Ibora to Ibono to Ibori, right? And so you need also a very careful and complete definition socially as Muslim. That's the only way you'll be able to deal with the social chaos around you. People are walking naked without being paid for. Even if you open your eyes, close your eyes, before you say I used to be like, you know, click frames per second already has passed. So I'm finding which is the opposite. You need your spiritual definition of strength. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give us wandering around. We have the story of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam as the youth, how he thrived in the midst of paganistic chaos that surrounded him. We need to take a lead from that. In the town of Midian, where you do not even know which of their prophets you want to point to, there's a group of youths like this. They didn't call themselves Adyan, but they were a group of youth. How did Allah describe them? Surah Al-Kahf. Innahum fityatun amanu bi rabbihim. That is the standing quality. And that's what will help you to define your spiritual thriving. Amanu bi rabbihim. No matter where you find yourself, wherever, however, you must not use your faith. وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. And then we strived them in right guidance. When you define correctly, physically, financially, you define correctly, financially, socially, you define correctly, spiritually, then the world becomes clear in front of you. There's no chaos, there's no confusion. Because سَيَعْلَمُونَ عِلْمَ الْيَقِينِ. becomes well established. River system promises you money, you don't find out to say no. Fashion system promises you nakedness, you don't hesitate to say no. Postponement of prayer promises you convenience, you don't hesitate to say no. So what is chaos to some people and confusion to others becomes a developmental challenge that is exciting to you. And no stone becomes too big for you to just roll aside or climb over to make your progress.
Thank you so much, Sheikh, for that wonderful response. So moving on to, I hope you noticed something. When I walked into the hotel today, I noticed something about the pictures at the top and the bottom of the flex band at the back. The names are quite similar, the initials are quite similar, but the prefix. All right. Just check, confirm, you'll see what I'm saying. Don't worry. So, Dr. Adyan, sir, how would you tell our audience? You make, I jotted down a number of things in your speech, and that was quite insightful. How do you, I mean, you've touched it in your speech, so let's not dwell too much. Would you tell us to, maybe something you get out of your speech and you just want to pass? How do you define thriving? How should we as youth define training, and how can we measure it?
Thank you. You are very spot on. I will avoid what I've said before. For me, thriving means, I will put it very simply, I would say, thriving means you are the first, or the best among equals in all areas of life. I'll say it again. It's either you are the first or you are one of the best among equals in all areas of life. For instance, as a student, if you are in school, you are thriving when you are among the top styles of that program. Whether first 3 or first 10, or you must just be within that. As an economic minister, I must try to achieve excellence. Excellence in every area of our life. Either as a student, as a daughter, as a servant of our Creator, just try to achieve excellence in the program. That for me is where you can easily say that you are thriving. When we are in school environment or work environment, and you are better, then as a person, you are not thriving. So measure success is, I would say that depends on what goal the person define. You can only measure yourself against goal you define against. But having said that, I would say success for me, or lasting success, is if you have built yourself in a level where you can survive any condition. And I'm trying to drive this home a bit. Today, out of my pain as a person is, when I see people just coming to career, I saw they are going through. We didn't go through that, and what was a bit better during our time. I started my career in 1998. At that time, as an entry-level person in banking, I could afford a one-bedroom or two-level flat in Surulere. Today, entry-level in banking, even the next level, some of them are now renting best spaces in Africa. So that, things are moving, things are a bit more difficult using that word. So you need to do much more to be able to survive and thrive. So success is that you are very there such that no matter what comes, whether it's COVID or whether any condition, you can survive. One thing I also missed out from my speech, which I like to emphasize, is that we shouldn't see chaos as negative. In fact, as individuals, we must impose chaos on ourselves. If your life is too calm, you are living dangerously. You must put chaos in our own life, either by going to living our comfort zone, learning something new, or trying to change. And I'll just give an example quickly before I come to the mic. I studied master, and honestly, I don't know why I choose master. Because it's honest and ingredients. I mean, you study master. I couldn't pass jam. I was writing jam, I was scoring 233, 240, and so you cannot give me the kind of course I want. So I went for A levels. And alhamdulillah, my lot was good. So I'm taking accounting, law, and so on. The family wanted that accounting or law, but I don't want any of those courses. For some reason, I wanted passport. I finished passport, I realized that, what will be the next game? Be a reporter. Salary don't come, is not regular. And I want to be comfortable in life. So immediately I realized that I don't want to work as a mass comm graduate. So I started what next to do when you do an MBA. In MBA, then I realized that okay, when we're on campus, the accounting students used to make a lot of noise as if accounting is the most important thing in school. We don't rest, everybody is shouting accounting as well. So after doing MBA, this accounting is very stupid. They are going to like hand, and that's why you can see FCA today. So things will be changing. You can't say because you are studying medicine or studying accounting. If things are evolving, you have to move. So success for me is equip yourself so that whatever comes, your base is diverse. You can face any situation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Remember, Dr. Adyan said for 28 to 30 years in the corporate world, for every day of those 28 years, there's one case of China agenda. It's not for you, brothers and sisters. Now, you say your marriage is sweet. I just want to bring that up. Everybody's not really wild. Not say because he said, try and bring in chaos. Sorry about what. Please, that's not what he So I'm coming back to you. Okay. All right, no, there's a mic beside beside you. So Adyan Kabira is ready to contribute to that to this question.
Alhamdulillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah for everything. Alhamdulillah for good health. Alhamdulillah for good life. Alhamdulillah that we're Muslims. Alhamdulillah, especially myself, being in the midst of my Muslim brothers and sisters today, it's this kind of gathering I always like to be. And alhamdulillah that in this time and age, we still have gatherings like this, reminding ourselves the essence of our existence in life, and I reward all of us, and especially the organizers of this program, for doing this, and we will organize it for it all at the end of the day. So many thanks to the speakers. They really said a lot, and honestly, I always say that for me, when I have a gathering like this, our guest speaker already said it. One word that we should take home. If you are in this kind of gathering and you have a take home, then you are benefited and you are not successful. But so I will not go back and start talking from where they really touched. I'm just going to cite an example. I quoted, I said, thriving is a continuous improvement, better today than yesterday. And I'll use myself. When I embrace consciousness, when I embrace India, I used to say it, I'm sure some of my sisters can relate. It's more like my story every time to encourage other sisters to keep trying when it comes to our game. So I started and I was wearing the hijab. I mean, see that one about any Ibori, because I think that one is Ibori. There was this scarf one, we just wrap it around, and that was how I started. I don't want to start telling my story, maybe question will still get to how the journey got there and all. So I started saying called Ibori. So some Muslims sisters don't even accept that as hijab. But then I started, and I thought I was there, and I displayed hijab queen, puppy lipsticks. I thought after Ibori, so I'm not asking my place I didn't again. So I just want to wear hijab, I want to wear the nose ring, I want to do a lot of things, and I thought it was okay. So, and then, but as 1 year, you see, I'm not just Islamic gathering, I used to see some friends. There's nothing on you like, oh, sister, are you sharing your thing you're doing? So when they give me those signs and then I ask like that, Shemika Boring on I share. It goes beyond just doing stuff. It has a lot of rules, and honestly, they are not harsh. At the end of the day, when you embrace them, you see that it's more interesting, more uplifting, and more like a of success and peace of mind at the end of the day. So that's it. I think it's worrying. We're going to do actually, so in this round, so, but at the end of the day, it's not all about baby acting boring. It's all about the essence in Moriwa. What are we representing? You're not just a Muslim, but you are a Muslim that wants to be successful at what you're doing. And how do you become successful? By emulating what your religion preaches, what our God says, what the prophet said, and then in your community, you are leading that purpose. So we want to be good mentor, we want to be a good leader, we want to be great followers. Example, a great community career. Me, Ijeta, I went to my community to see my mom, and then I'm Ijeta will be Thursday, so they do environmental. So I'm So a lady unfortunately didn't know they were officers. We were sanitary, yes. So they came and they will go to arrest and they said, go there, anymore. And then they said they don't take her to the courts. They'll take her to the police to teach her to the same. And I was just coming, so as I cried, I'm like, I don't know about when you are sanitary officers, kill her shit. I want to go to my colleague. So all people, they were like, going back, I was like, community, we are supposed to work together. No, I went there and I met the leader of the officers and I said, hey Joe, what are we to do? He said, I'm fine. People are fine. People said, go, I'm on course. So that I promise you, sir, that she will do a service. I will record it and I will send it to you. Please, can you just pardon us? And I pray that henceforth you will see that even it will be more cleaner and better than the way you met it today. And I was surprised because Nigeria knows that they listened, they left, and that was it. So impact only, and she not just to say we want to be successful, but what are we giving to that is the greatest achievement of our lives.
You see, thrive such an essence that it's an individual journey that you have value to yourself that you can tell some people that if you hear me, do you understand? Can you see that even in your family, when your mommy is beating your younger sister, with the wallet, can you tell your mommy if you wallet? Can that happen? So let it be a personal journey. So coming to Dr. Akim, I want you to look at this now. You know, of recent, for those of us who have been active online, you know, there's this somebody who mentioned something about Olodo culture, and whether we like it or not, the Olodos are making money. And some people who fool, they put big powder on their face all of the time, and there's a smart somewhere. So, what is thriving to you, and how do you encourage this audience to define and measure success? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You know, the beauty of being here is that I can just say you said it all. That's the beauty of being the last to speak. But I must first say it's glad to be back. You know, someone was telling me that some years ago that was my role. I was always the moderator of all the panel sessions. I always the one invited. So it's glad to be on the other side. And you know, the sound of my one meeting. Chairman, I know you are waiting for me to say it. One meeting. Also to say thank you for the panel and to greet my mom again. For most people I don't know, Alaja Kamabalo is my mom, not even an aunt. She started to come and collect beside her. I don't have an option on how to go and do it. So Thank you very much for this panel. You mentioned something very interesting, which is your local culture, and it was trending on social media for a long time. But also, when the World Cup season, if you use it as an example, thriving in the World Cup means that first you must leave group stage. And thriving in the World Cup means after group stage, you must make it to what? Quarter final. Then you must make it to semi-finals. Then you must make it to the finals. Then you must win. Anything aside that is not thriving. And that means that we already have a goal in mind. Everybody who watches to North America for the World Cup had one goal in mind. What is the goal? To lift the trophy. Now imagine if your own does to go there and just can participate. What will happen is that person will just be happy because you know I do what they achieve. You that you want to go and win for, you will not be wondering why this person is happy. Because don't forget that the goals are not the same. So when you are saying your friend is enjoying, she's enjoying, only they're getting in her mind, executive training room, yeah, level 7, only first in her whole family. So like to her, she's shining. But in your family, the least educated is on level 15. So even on level 7 is like, no, this one. You will not be wondering why they do not tell you are paying for exam. You might say, maybe I want to share money. No. So the most important part of training is understanding what end goal is. For those who are in school, if your end goal is to come out with the best rating students, you have to embrace chaos. Because when people are sleeping and waking up at 8 o'clock, wake up earlier. When people are enjoying and going over the weekend, you will not. So the most one we should ask ourselves, the starting point is, what is the end goal? Imagine you're a footballer and you go and play, like they say, you go to the pitch and there's no post. Or you go to the pitch and there is no throwing line. So as soon as there is no goal, you cannot even define training. You can't. So it's also ask ourselves, what is the goal? To those who are in school, what is the goal? To say I am a graduate, or to say I'm a first class graduate. There are two kinds of graduates. There are two kinds of graduates. Which are high school with graduate students. There are two different kinds. For those who are working, like you said, they've been in banking since 1998. That's 28 years. There are people who started at that time and they are not where they used to be. But I'm trying to be asking them, the goal was different. I want to start banking, I want to be the best banker, and I want to have my own establishment over time. But someone I joined banking to say, come on, you know, banker, but you will now put on his car, plus a sticker of the company to say, he's a banker that you need money. And he's also happy. And there is nothing pushing me. There's no end goal. Personally, after 10 years, I'm promoted. You know what I do? Working, and your goal is, I want, and you tell yourself, it takes 10 years to go from banking officer to bank manager, but I want to do it in 4 years. That is an end goal. That's what you keep working towards. And for those who are doing business, it becomes everybody in doing business, they have two shops, one in the go, one in the bottom. I want to have 10. One in every region in Lagos. That is the goal. So thriving is a personal thing. Like proceeding at the beginning, you are thriving based on your own goal. If your friend's goal is a very small goal, I want to get here rather than my plan here. Oh, to get here, then I'm not here. So I don't need to compare. So the likes of Con, the likes of Kanta, their own goal is different. That is their own goal. Is that your goal? So why are you comparing yourself with them? Okay, did they your own goal because Kasha told you television? Again, you can't know. So it is clear. And also, when you are going to define your goal, there has to be goals across different metrics. We are Muslims. The number one goal is to make a general house. That is non-negotiable. Imagine if you came to this world and there is no hell and there is no heaven and heaven. It will be chaos. But God knows that we need a goal to work towards. There are other goals. One, if you're in career, there's a goal. Ask yourself, don't just in career, like our God, don't put your promotion in the hands of the child. money three and come to by no. There are those that can live less than 3 years. 2, in terms of family, you should not pursue career growth at the expense of your children. Because now we have a lot of examples of people who their kids don't have father again. 6 o'clock, go to grow, 10, go to the weekend, go to Sunday. And what the father will say is, she didn't know what she share. But the question is, in 15 years time, you wonder why that boy does not know you as his father. So the goal also should include family. Family doesn't have to be your nuclear family, it also has to be your parents. It has to be extended family. Charity also has to be in terms of your health. I say you don't want to work all the rest of your life and then at 50 or 60, only you having 3 different jobs. You got 10, you got 11, you got 2, you got which means that at this stage, you need to put it together. If you are a young person and the last time you did exercise was during NYC camp, that's the problem. Or the last time you did push-up was when soldier says you do push-up, that's the problem. Because if you don't start it now, you will now wonder when you are 70, you cannot start shape again. One year, so health is also a metric. Your community, what do they know you as in your community? So those are the different metrics. But one thing is, let that be a goal, and your thriving is your personal responsibility. If you compare yourself with others, like they say, so have an end goal and measure yourself against it across clearly defined metrics.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akin. That's a wonderful response. You know, I fear that there are in this auditorium today that want to do like Kodo and Katafi. That was why I came in. I didn't want to mention, but I'm joining man. So please let us redefine the things that we want as Muslims. Remember, Dubajola John to and John school. So I want to quickly go back to my mommy, Mrs. Akamo Balogun. And the question I want to ask is, because there's something I have for people at your level, that are females at your level, that have risen to so, but I always like women in excellent positions that when they hold their stand, they can hold their own men. So what are some of the habits and principles that have helped you remain grounded? And over the years, has helped you remain grounded over the years, especially as because Chairman said 28 years ago, he's higher again. Surulere. Those of people who live in Surulere today know that right. So what are those values that have made you remain grounded so that the name Mrs. Akamo Balogun is still a name to recognize? How much is your data subscription?
I never wanted a civil service job. I wanted to trade and all that. But my mom said no. Oh, the money will provide the woman and the woman will argue. You have to go to school. My father wanted me to do business. And I said no. Can you give your mother I will do this, I will work, and then the job started. I started in the year, that's all the time in the day. And then I was moved to Muslim People's Welfare. I was there for 7 years. I was not satisfied with what I was doing. And then before I went to Ministry of Education, I was not fulfilled. So I said, I want to learn. And I was moved to the office of the head of service, public service office. Then when we get to the office of the head of service, they meet. You are green. When I got there, that was the first thing they told me. She's green. Green means you don't know me. And I said, yes, sir. My Mr. Wole said, yes, she's green. but she will die. And he asked me, are you ready to live? I said yes. And that was where the journey started. I was willing to live. What did I need to live? At that time, I could not even touch the system. I could not operate the computer at that time. And then I had a secretary. And then, you know, and I said, no, how am I forget? And that's how I started. In the public service office, I was like everywhere. I was like everywhere. Without issues in the health sector at that time, I was there to put observation, to talk to doctors, to see how the governor and the ESCO can, manage the issues. And then I was in the public service office doing one program or the other. What did I require then? I looked at it. I needed a skill to do that task. To do the task that would take me from where I was to where I am now. A skill. So I acquired that skill. And I want to tell you that learning does not end anywhere. It ends when you die. So I took up those skills, writing skills, all of that skills that you need. Then we need to go for disciplinary meetings. You need to go and represent the government. And you must not lose some value. Because of that, so you can't just go there and talking of it. No, we have a public service room. You must study it before you know. Because in that room are the policies of government. When you do this, this is what I shared you. You have to take the financial regulations for those who embezzle government money. You better share what a person. And you need to read all this because you can't say it all. So that's key. And the attitude. The attitude to know. My other audacious hardworking. You call her Sukilicious. She's hardworking. She gives you something to do in those days. And then I started drafting the circular of the head of service, which nobody must see, hear the concept before it is released. And so comes, faithfulness, dedication. No one, if anyone here has nine of that circular, so that was how I learned all I needed, which a huge step. Maybe I want to go, I want to sit on the table with men. And when you sat on the men, reviewing public service rules, reviewing scenes of service, which is required for the entire service, then you can't just go there empty. You must have read, you must have that skill, you must have been preached, you must have the right attitude, you must be faithful to the service, you must be dedicated, you must be committed. What does this want? This is what God wants. You may not even like it, but because you are sitting on that side of the table, there you will say, then don't just be a non-local. Don't be in you. Be at the table. Whatever you need to be at that table and to be a good brand. We are Muslims. We are ambassadors of our religion. Be a good brand. When they see you, you don't look like a Muslim. And I ask, how does a Muslim look? How does a Muslim look? You don't talk like a Muslim. How does a Muslim talk? You don't walk like a Muslim. How does a Muslim walk? So you must have some qualities. You must have the right attitude for people to see you and spot you and say, hey, let's bring it to the church. Let's bring it to the church.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Akano. Willingness to learn and ensure that you are, especially as sisters, because we're the ones who carry the identity everywhere you go. I quickly want to go to Sheikh Ahmed. And my question to you, sir, is the young characters, we are Moga. How can young people maintain values? How can we maintain discipline and purpose while trying to navigate the murky waters of trying to get to the top, especially as Muslims?
We're going to have a special lecture organized one day, one time, right? On a more serious note, that's a very serious question that you asked. And since you are asking about young people, so perhaps I'm going to skip the high table, I'm going to skip the first, the second row also. So young people, where are the young people? Oh yes, we are here. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. This is how to do it foundationally. تربية الأولاد. The foundation is a decided resolution to be different. تطع أكثر من في الأرض يضلوك عن سبيل الله. The Muslim child, the Muslim youth cannot be reactionary. You cannot be modifiers, much less followers, because you have a path already laid for you. So beyond all other mundane considerations, which may not be less important, there has to be a decided resolution to walk the straight, narrow, quote-unquote, difficult path, because that is the only that eventually leads to the broad, comfortable, peaceful, and successful life beyond the hardship. You can't have it both ways. Maybe in the end, you can now put on to me and everything. That's principle number one. I am very reluctant to cite personal examples. For those who have listened to me at junctures like this in the past, you remember a part of what I'm about to say. If it was an option, for a child to file for divorce from his parents, if it was an option for a child to go to support and say, these ones, I don't want them again. Maybe some of us would have done that. But in retrospect, now that we're where people think we are today, we wish that they did more than what they did for us. We wish now that we listened more to them, to what they were saying. We wish now that we obeyed better. Let me give you a glimpse, and I will not take your time. You have a setup. Number one, you cannot wake up in that setting and start talking about Prophet Olewi. Ọmọ tí o ti máa gbọ́dá ní àlàáfíà lọ lé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ Yẹ̀wúdí. Ọmọdé ara kò sí nǹkan tí ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀. That is foundational. You will start asking me now, father is banker, father is broker. Broker means more broke than the mother. Now tell me exactly how you will have a child and institute this rule I just mentioned. But you see, unfortunately, there aren't an alternative to Sunnah Allah that required by bid'ah. That is fixed. Discipline. Discipline from upbringing, discipline in content, quality, and volume of education. Your child is being raised to sleep and dream in somebody else's language. How exactly do you want to instill cultural discipline on that child in your culture? 2, it has to be built in the upbringing, in the training of that child. Anywhere you go, anyone you meet, hold up your own. That is the only way you won't become an accountant and forget you are from an imam's house. That's the only way you don't become a medical director and you will look for a sign of a Muslim out of what they will not see. So you have to, number 2, you have to develop a pathological rigidity in the identity of Islam. And I say that deliberately because there will be many aspects of your life that will threaten to shift you a little to the right, shift you a little to the left. This is important. People keep saying, I wanted to, but the nature of my job. Which one came first? The nature of your creation or the nature of your employment? 2. 3, make yourself wanted. Want out of people less. Ask of the Creator. He will love you more and give you more. Ask of the created. He will respect you less and give you less. So rule number 3 is to the early stage set a high bar of what achievement will be. So you get yourself wanted. Please pardon me, may Allah forgive all of us. I do not wish to make a personal example, but all of this credit from what I'm about to say will go to those I will not say I will talk about the one please indulge me. All of our Lord advice. I will not see you, but that's what I don't want to have which I have to cover. Grow a child who will only introspect, depend, challenge himself rather than look up to others and want to be like them. When they organize special lectures, special classes, tutorial in school, your child must be the organizer, not the beneficiary. That is how you should grow. They say today he's a doctor. They say today he's an imam. They say today all those things that you read and read and read. They also said he led all of the doctors in this state at one time. So how can you combine all of that together and say he's also the imam at Al-Azhar Central Mosque? How? The answer is simple. Ask of Allah, and men will see you. Ask of men, and they would respect you less. I will wrap. How do we get this done? Recognizing the priority. Because there's only one priority as far as the world of Islam is concerned. That priority is what encompasses all confusion, artificial chaos, comes when people want to think that job is different from religion, when people think that politics is separate from religion, when people want to think that all and accounting and doctoring and nursing, they are separate outside of the world. If you separate them, you are going to be worsening your chaos. And I say that responsibly. If you encounter and engage in them from within, your Islam will rise over and above them and give those positions more value, more respect. They will say, he's an imam. Can you imagine? And he's also a surgeon. It will not make him look like being a surgeon has suddenly become something very matter. Plenty of surgeons outside there. They say he's a Muslim brother and he's also a banker. Oh wow! As in real banking, he said, being a successful Muslim brother will not make the banking to assume added value. But there are plenty of bankers out there who are adding zeros to, you know what I mean. These are my own adopted rules for how you thrive, how you navigate beyond the so-called challenges of career. Please indulge. People will say, oh, she, you're also this, you're also that, you're also this, you're also that. And when people ask, who ask this question very frequently? And I almost always have to explain myself when I give the answer. Because the answer will come across as being, the guy is so full of himself. Because when you ask me, how do you combine, how do you do this, how do you do that, my simple answer is, I don't know. I just do them. How do I just do them? Because I am grown, I am trained, I am brought up to just assess what I have to do, get down to start doing it. We just concluded, and I'll conclude, we just concluded our senior class end of posting examinations. In fact, I am on my way to the hospital now once I leave this place to finish it. One of them, just before they came to my office with the group, they wanted to come and ask for demonstrations, clinical demonstrations before the clinical exams 2 days later. And then they met me. I was reviewing some journals, I had some research work to review. And then they stood by the door. The group, the team wanted to go back. Say, okay, we came to ask you something, but each time we come here, you're always scaring us. And I, why? And then they said, we are the ones to do exams in 2 days' time. Now we enter, you head of surgery, now we enter your office, and you seem to be reading much more serious than we that are going to do it. How can we ever pass your exams? So, learn from the last verse that included the mission of the Prophet ﷺ. The last chapter that sealed the promise. These were not chapters that were built in past tense. They were in present continuous. I share the first اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. فمن mean that this is a living present doing things. The last chapter. Allah was revealing to the prophet if they said to complete what how did Allah put it? إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. When the victory will come. وَرَأَيْتَ النَّاسَ يَدْخُلُونَ. You will see men who will be enter in the religion of Allah أَفْوَاجًا. Meaning that the ultimate umbrella of growth, thriving, success is to always push. It is not the end, it is not the best, if it is not the end. And only Allah knows where the end lies. Always approach with a can do. And sky will not be your limit, but your stepping stone. Assalamu alaikum.
Ask of Allah, and men will seek you. So men and men will respect you less. Be alone. Thank you so much, Ustaz, for that wonderful input, submission. Because I know my chairman tells me his time is fast spent and he wants to take his leave now. But before he leaves, sir, yes, for 28 to 30 years, every day of the I've said it before, I'm going back to it. For every day in 30 to 28 years, there was always chaos, challenge that you didn't run away from. And you're still going through it. Today you're not a bigger man anyways. Sir, is it? So, sir, what is that one thing that you look back on that you felt, the chaos is a one, and how did you navigate that particular incident? Something in the past that happened that you felt, I know I tried in chaos, comes and goes. What is that one thing that you look at and back, and then how can you give us an advice on how to just navigate that as young persons?
I don't have the answer. I will try. And I'm speaking honestly. I take one day at a time, and I don't look for the second chance. So, whether at school or at work at home, I did my utmost best. And after that, I did just my best. So I don't look back and think that I could have done it better. So I don't keep anything, I don't hold back. I give my all to everything I have to do. And once that is done, I just give the rest. But bearing that in mind, I think you need a lot of self-discipline, a heavy dose of self-discipline. If we have self-discipline, I think we conquered most of it in our life. Because we are going to be, when we're in school, we live a false life. Because everything seems to be organized, there are rules, you cannot find the mistakes of you and so on. So you play by the books to some extent in school because it's a very nice environment. It's like this place, thank you. Once you step out of that place, from NYC to the real life, one, you have to compete. That is very easy. You have to compete. You have to collaborate. You have to play politics. But we put it positive. Compete, you know what to compete means. You cannot be in a classroom or walk around and see, you can be twins and same class. You have unique names. Kehinde Abdurrahman is a unique name. Tyler Abdurrahman is a unique name. So even though you are brothers, you came out at the same time, you still have to compete. And that's going to like the of workplaces. Second one I mentioned is collaborate. Even while you still have to collaborate with people, so you can't do without working with people. And the last one is politics. You can't do without doing politics, whether at home or at workplace. Politics means politics. And I'll give an example. You know, your boss has given you a job and they submit a week's time. You must endeavor to submit within this. These are things that positive impression in people's mind. So that the day you get an assignment and can't meet up, they will forgive you. That is not usually like that. So they will forgive you. You must be somebody people go to for error. You know, you mentioned something. Dr. Imam and he said your child must be organizing tutorial, not the one going there to go and at one point, you can't be the person asking people to help you all the time. You must be a go-to person. So who comes to you to come and ask for just clarity? Do you understand? It doesn't come by default. It comes by investment in learning and just understanding what has to be done at the work point. You have to invest in yourself so that I can help others and so on. If we have all of this, I believe we can navigate the chaos and not too uncertainty in the workplace. You know, my first 24 years of working in an environment that is completely performance driven. If you to survive, you must add value. If you are not adding value, you cannot survive. You don't do anybody. They won't get to be, they don't get employed, they don't get anybody, and to get them, don't get anybody. So it's just you sacrificing and putting in your best for you to rise. Once you have discipline, winning mentality, you are intentional. You don't have time to waste. I will accuse the organizer of this program. We are using time, resource that is freely available. Time is that thing that dismisses a successful person from what I just tried. We have said 10 to 1. It is 10 to 1. People should have that thing to try and do with themselves. So you use time very well, and those are those elements that you need to try to compete and to excel. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I totally forgot this. He alluded to what he just said now in his speech. And I knew he just said it in the past. I was trying to be very, come on, he actually said it. So we apologize for not starting as we said. That's what Ansarudeen o'clock is, Ansarudeen o'clock is always prompt. This just happens to be one of those exceptions. Thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful insight. Thank you so much. I'll be going on to Alaja Kabira Kafili, but it just so happens that it's not deliberate that we are going through the same pattern of the same first, set of questions. So, Adyan, you know, I chose to direct this question to you based off of the response you gave to the first question. And it's, you know, change requires that you step outside of your comfort zone, the thing you're used to. It's a routine that you easily know. When I leave my house, I go this way. But the moment you want to change, and that's why systems resist change sometimes. So change requires that you step outside of your comfort zone. And there's usually fear that comes from wanting to change. Right? So how can we as young persons embrace the fear and overcome fear and embrace the opportunities that comes with growth during uncertain times?
So, for me, I would say that the Sheikh has said a lot, hasn't said a lot, and I'm very glad that we're really saying also that all we do at some point is just, you know, just give some examples and all that. But I'll say that, you see, me, I was very comfortable in my comfort zone, that is the mainstream, that's talking about the film industry and all at the early beginning of my life. And I was comfortable, or maybe I was not sure if I was. But everything was going well. And then, you know, the change, it was going to evolve, and there was a lot of confusion. I was in the middle of trying to move forward. How am I supposed to navigate? What am I supposed to do? How is this even achievable? So, I think first off, when we find ourselves in such situations, knowing well that Father said that Almighty Allah has destined our future, like, let me say how I get it here. So, you know, yes, that just Allah has planned our future 50,000 years, even before the creation. I am very correct, I'm sure. So, you know, Allah created our affairs 50,000 years before our creation, and that alone for us as a Muslim, or I just realized that as a Muslimah, if you keep your faith in Allah, if you stand by the Islamic templates and not dipping yourself into societal templates, when you are faced with challenges in life, it will be very easy for you. Maybe not so easy, but when I say easy, you rely on tawakkul, you have patience, and then you now stay on your prayers, hoping that the one who has destined all of these 50,000 years will definitely not fail you. It's easier said than done, they say. Yeah, it's a common line in the Bible. Among it happens to us as human. So when this thing wants to happen to you, and inshallah, if you are a Muslim who believe solely in your Maker and believe that He has a plan, and all you need to do is make the step in correcting the challenges and hoping that in Allah, when our guest speaker said it the other time, I was just because it was part of what I've already lined out by saying that if Allah promises us something, Allah does not fail. He said, Innama Israel. So if as a Muslim you believe in this thing, you say it a lot, but how much of us believe that? We got to answer it more. So for me, our faith in Allah, our strength in facing the challenges, that is standing with Him, that I want to give up. And then if I am not relenting, I'm making efforts, I'm seeking knowledge, guidance, now to navigate or to escape the chaos, Allah will definitely meet me, and then which He did for me when the whole thing happened to me. And I think pretty much, I went to the Imam, I'll say it again, so follow my stories. I thought it was going to be very difficult. I said, should you need your job in life? Because I'm a young thing for me. Over one day, I want to share Netflix and this millions jobs when you were just collecting maybe 50,000 and maybe most of them were doing to 50K. And then you started seeing jobs of to mama fetch $1 million and all, and you're just confused. And then you just felt like you're seeking knowledge. I ain't that success to majesty here. So I met the Imam, I said, sir, I should take the job away because I might be missing a lot. And the Imam, may Allah please body. I always say it and I always pray for him. And I pray for him again because I'm always on that job. He told me that, I might not meet you again, I think you're about to start again, but can't quote me. Don't take out. Just keep focused. Be prayerful. Think of things to do. Focus on that thing. And I promise you, gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n sọ pé olùlùsì yìí wọ́n sì máa padà dárò wẹ́ tó rọ̀ wọ́n bá kò ní lójú tí ẹ o. And I'm living that life today, and alhamdulillah of that.
Thank you so much for that wonderful response. Audience, you're quite aware Zoom is time for Zoom. We'll observe Zoom. We'll run through the panel session in about 10-15 minutes. So, Dr. Akin, technology is changing. The world is evolving. Societal changes is happening. Economic shifts. You have an opportunity to tell us what are some of the skills that you think or mindsets do you people need to possess in order to stay relevant today's world?
Thank you.
I didn't tell you that I'm telling you.
Yes, I know. They say the movement is the control. And you've got to find the blacks always. I never really understand. This question was asked in my kids' PTA meeting, and we're talking about, we're going to start teaching our kids how to code, start teaching them artificial intelligence. Those are the jobs of today, or those are the jobs of tomorrow. And what I said then, what I was saying now, which is the most important skill to survive is the skill called adaptability. At some point, we were using typewriters. Now imagine if someone was stubborn to say, computer you need more lose here. He talked to me, the person would have been unemployed like the next. But people learned how to use typewriter. When the computer came, they went to computer school and they learned how to use computers. So the most important skill is first, adaptability. Understanding that what you know as of today can become archaic today. At some point, if you want to know who the president country is, you do it on Google. Google will give you like 7 different lists. You will now click on each of them and find the answer. If you put that on ChatGPT, it will tell you the president's name, when he was born, how old he is. Now, imagine someone saying, ChatGPT here, you will not know. Now, I'm buying the Google. So it's adaptability. 2 is also, like one of my mentors will say, do not be dinosaur. Which means look for the changes even before they occur. Don't let it meet you there. The change, most of the change met BlackBerry. BlackBerry is no more. If only BlackBerry has said we will remove PM messaging and accept WhatsApp as an app on our phone, people will still need to buy BlackBerry to communicate. But BlackBerry said no, we will not use WhatsApp. People that have VPN can communicate with themselves. And WhatsApp came in, and people said, why should I buy a BlackBerry phone when I can buy an Android and communicate with my friend that uses an iPhone? Adaptability. 2 is look for the changes. And 3, change is hard. You know, when I left the public sector to work at the foundation, for the first 1 year, 6 months, I was resuming work at 7 a.m. and I was closing at 8 p.m. I was a 14-hour shift every day for 1 year, 6 months. Why? Change is hard. And I had to unlearn and relearn. Nobody will teach you. So if you're not ready to do the hard work, you will be adaptable in your head. You will see the changes happening. But you're not ready to disrupt yourself and do the unthinkable. You will keep following. So those 3 things.
Give me a roll. And being ground of this session, would like to take questions, members of the audience. So 1, 2, do you have a question on this side? 1. Brothers, sisters, do you have a representative? Thank God. They are not blessed sisters. I love them. They don't want us to waste time. They want to go for school. My brother, they're giving it to the brothers. They know our sisters.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi. My name is Kudus Salam. I'm just like an advice for a young guy who's trying to chase his dream. What would you advise? Okay, let me put it this way. If there is an opportunity in the field that you are very at, that you are dreaming to be, but the pay is not encouraging. And there is another opportunity in the field that you don't even have any idea about, but the pay is and okay. Money and passion. Money and passion, yes. Which area should the person go?
Okay, let me take a stab at it and then we stop on our brothers. There is no field in the world that there is no money in. There is no field or sector in the world that there is no money in. 20 years ago, if your parents saw football, they would beat you, almost kill you. And we're going to school. Now, one of the most richest people in the world are who? Footballers. So, the most advantage value follows money follows value. Money follows value. If you choose a path and you know what it takes to get the work done, and you distinguish yourself enough to do it well, money will be the least of your problems. The important thing is have something that money will follow. In conclusion, I wanted to do my master's abroad at some point, and I was like, people were saying online, you need to do this, £50,000, £60,000. And then the mentor told me, he said, well, he said they are scholarship. I said, no. He said, no. He said, they will give you money to go to school if you can show them value in why you want to study that course and what you want to do with it. Spend the next 1 year answering that question in your head. When you have it, the scholarship will come. And it came. My school fees and everything was about £65,000. I did not pay a couple. So, get value first. And value will come from your passion. Because the learning is difficult. Habits and And I will say it again, the last thing you think about in your life is money.
Thank you very much. Doctor has. Yes.
Sorry, I just want to edit to what you have said. I'm with him. However, I want to modify it a bit in the sense that if you go on ChatGPT or any search engine and search for the job that is getting attraction and reward, they will list it. Within the next thing, you will see four categories. Apply to four categories. So I agree with your passion. However, you have to balance your passion. All I want to be in my life is to be a lecturer. The actually offered me to be a assistant lecturer graduating from University of Lagos. But I told you that because, honestly, I can't see the future. How much I get paid at the time. But when they're looking for a job, I will look for something else that will give me a lecturing opportunity. So when I got into banking, I found that I can still be teaching and lecturing within banking. So you can look for that passion within anything that you want to do. But you must balance economics with passion because Nigeria of today, Nigeria of tomorrow, honestly, thank you.
Thank you very much. Before she asks you, we'd like to recognize the presence of the Vice Chancellor of St. University, Professor Adyan. Most welcome, sir. Chief, 1 minute.
Yes, you're welcome. My brother, can I see your face? Sorry, I do not intend to put you on the spot, but you have asked a question many young people here are asking inside that is pushing them into so many things that they are being tempted to do. Right? Patience now with passion, promise of money later. Or, my guy, now, let go handle itself. That's the summary of this question. And my sister whispered something to me. First, we're going to be starting from the premise that either side we're talking about halal passion now, halal money now. Sir, it is what you want without that is going to carry you through all conditions, i.e., your passion, your knowledge, your qualification, that area that you want to. That is what doesn't leave you, regardless of what the environment is. You will just seek ease out of that difficulty. If money offers itself now, my brother talked about in the days of transition typewriter to computer. There are many computer schools that were floated. I remember we were in school then, and pocket money will carve out a little side just to go to computer appreciation school. And people are buying cars, floating, how to learn Control V is equal to paste, Control X is equal to cut. Now the toys that people carry has all of that now and more. So saying what is first seen today, man kana yuridu al-ajila ajjalna lahu fiha ma nasha'u liman yurid. Whoever is carried away by the want of now, even then we will only give to those we wish. The fact that the money seems plenty in your face now, God is really repair. So my advice bilaterally will be build you, make you wanted. And please let me add, don't get the wrong message. Share this because I feel obligated to. The rest of those things to you when you are reading the his head of surgery, his coordinator of surgery, his laparoscopic, and this and this and that. For those that have said this to you before, where's Moise? The day after the Quran and all of that, and the day I wanted to go to school, I wanted to be a doctor. The day I wanted to be a doctor, I had known I wanted to be a surgeon. And wherever that was going to carry me, that's what I wanted, that's what I prayed for. Right? And all the hurdles I told you earlier. Alhamdulillah, without declaring what his cause are, Alhamdulillah, we didn't do too bad in school graduating. After all, they are teaching you what they already have taught you in the madrasa, so what is special? Secondary school came and went. We didn't do badly at all, alhamdulillah. But I did jam 5 times. Please let me say it in black and white so that, and Allah is the witness, this is just to pass. I had the best graduating result in my class. Secondary school. And I got admission the year we finished. But remember what I said? I wanted to be doctor. Unilag gave me admission. And then the day we went to register, not to take our time, something happened. We met Tipex on top of that notice board. Somebody has used Tipex and used Bible to write somebody else's name. And they said we should go and bring money if we wanted the letter to be released to us. From there, from Akoka, that very day we went to Oxford Road to go and collect another form. Instead of bribing somebody who will ask you to me, to go and collect another form. I was in my house, they brought an admission letter, electrical electronics. Just like that. It was supposed to be my second choice. Who gives admission to second choices? I got one. Very attractive. There was a family friend, but then the director of NEPA. Please, I'm sorry. I just thought that that question is deeper than the person who asked it. And again, the man heard that the boy said he was not going to do, that he will take the engineering, but that is pending when he does the next exam. And the man was angry with me. Say, me, I am an electrical engineer. I am the director of NEPA. I said, thank you very much, sir. I took the engineering, went to school. When the time of jam came, I wrote another one. Until that Saturday morning, environmental, when they brought the letter to my house, medicine and surgery. When I joined Lagos State, salary of a doctor, when I joined Lagos State, that is a little less than 2 dozen years now, if you must know. And you know doctors are not earning too much, compared to others. Salary of doctor that time, 47,300, which was very big compared to other civil servants, level 12. Money will come. But today, alhamdulillah, money will still come, right? However, look at the journey. Don't look left. Don't look right. Wait away. Talk that concept. Because we're not Bukhari. Don't look left. Ọ̀pọ̀ kẹ́kẹ́ ọmọ sì wòrà wé ọba kọsẹ̀ owó ra ọlọ́run ọba tó lọ́la ó ti pèsè àrísìkí tiẹ̀ lóde ọ́. So no money of today in growing, no money of today in hustle. Hustle is a lucrative job now. Even though I look for dictionary meaning of hustle, I am saying even ChatGPT has not told me the dictionary meaning of hustle. Please don't. Okay? It is more important that it is little, incremental, sustainable, and long-lasting. Any of the people here will tell you one step before the next, so when you now look back one day, you see how far you have come, and you will be thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But even when it comes today, I am not going to tell that to you now.
So there's a question, someone asked a question directed to Dr. Onosore. Please can you see him in person and ask your question? So Alaja, someone just made a comment here. The person who sent this to me, so he said, you look beautiful. So I get to just tell you that compliment. So the person who sent this, kindly meet Dr. Akim Onosore. So before we get the parting of our panelists, we'd like to give one of our major, our airline sponsor, a minute or two to tell us a thing or two about them.
Someone to So, Alhamdulillah, we give thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I congratulate. Okay, and I congratulate. My name is Abdullah Ashim. I work for Lutaka Insurance Limited, led by New Management. And I'd like to say hi to our dad. I'm happy to see you here. It has been so I won't take much of our time because I don't want to waste his time. I can't waste my boss time. Basically, I just want to ask the question before I say insurance, and I want to answer maybe from the crowd. How many of us have something we know we don't want to lose, an asset or something that belongs to us we don't want to lose? He has answered the question. Okay, thank you.
The question is?
If you don't want anything, I love that. Any other person, mention one thing that if you lose it will pain you. Mention one thing. Just talk out here. Okay, fine. So the point there is, Mr. Bashir said something before going, and our MD has also said the same thing. Those things you say you don't want to lose, how do you protect them? You don't need to wait for when the kiosk comes around before you start protecting them. That is where the Kafman insurance comes in. Mr. Said said something that someone went to meet the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Prophet, I have my camel, can Almighty Allah work it for me? You know, they said, well, you have to tie your camel and Allah will watch it. For those of us that have one or two things that we have interest on, how much are we protecting it? What insurance are you giving on what you have? If you love your children, are you having insurance for them? If you love your parents, are you taking insurance for them? If your assets, are you taking insurance for them? If you love your phone, is there an insurance? If you love your laptop, is there an insurance on your laptop? I was up in my apartment last year and my generator was taken. I was not scared. I felt bad. But because I had insurance, my mind was okay. Couple of us were robbed, we missed our phone, we missed a lot of things. And some of us want to be, our fathers here have said it, you have to be listening and invest. How are you preparing for your future? Or how are you saving part of your money to prepare for your future? Do you still want to wait and let your mom still come back to give you? So at Mutakafo Insurance Limited, we have a couple of insurances that suits the needs of the woman, and it's also in an ethical and allowed way. This year, my daddy here will surely know. I work for Zainab, Lawal Lamzat. On a daily basis, we do insurance for the husband. On a daily basis, they insure some of their clients that know yes, things will happen. They insure even their staffs, their health, a lot of. So let's ask ourselves the question: do we want to wait till when they release kiosks before we reject? HMO is there. Some of you are just going to be 37 in a year, and then couple of times you've gone to the hospital, and then you're not ready. You need to learn. This is part of learning. So without wasting much of our dad's time, thank you very much for having me in person, doctors and my mommy. So please and please, Nutakabishan, we're here just for the few time to speak to people that want to know more about insurance, and serving as our members. Calling nurses that hit us in the north, every single soul takes that. Do we need to, what insurance do we have for our members? There's something we call group life insurance. A compensation to the beneficiary of an individual that passed away. Kini individual, we shouldn't wait till that time. So I'll be outside, my colleague is here from the health stand. Just let's discuss, do want to sell to you, want to see a reason why you need insurance. That's what I tell people. You must have a reason why you need it. You want to see a reason why you need something, and nobody needs to tell you. The recharge card was not, that was only marketing and all this. You know you have to use the recharge card. Yes, for medical students. Yes, we do a lot. Yes, is like I said, I don't want to take time, I'm going. So we do medical indemnity for lawyers, for doctors, for accountants, for bankers, all forms of insurance. Get it out, it is. People cars are being vandalized. Please, I don't want to take much of our time because our dad are here and my brother is also here. So please and please, let's talk and let's discuss more about how to protect ourselves and what we love. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
So without wasting much time, we're moving on to the presentation of plans and awards to our panelists. I'll be handing over to the So I'd like to call on the council chairman, I'd like to recognize the presence of the number one in Lagos, and I'd like to call on him. And to the chairman, today, Dr. Isiaka Adyan Lawal, chapter chairman. Also, to help us present to Dr. Saeed Ahmed. I'd like to call on the Vice Chancellor of Smith University to kindly help us present to our Sheikh in the house. I'd like to call on Alaja Kudrat Oduko Maya, the chairperson and Adyan Lagos branch. So kindly help us come make this presentation to Adyan Kabira Afidiwe. Our panelists, please, sirs, we would like to take a picture of what you are done with this. Also, alájà ẹ má bínú mà ẹ bá wa pèsè sí alájà wa káwọn wà lórí. Also, Dr. Akim Onosore, we would like to call on magistrates Akim Layeni to Latif Layeni to come help us with the presentation. And that we call for. Also, there's persons in this house today who have made a pledge in their mind, in their heart of hearts, to give us donations. Ìfilẹ̀ o ti dà ní ọ̀pọ̀ máa fún wa ló fún wa bọ́ fàdá ìlú ìjọ. Okay, so we would also like to call on the council chairman Adyan Lagos State Council once again to come present to AGS Lagos branch. I would like to call Honorable Jubilee Shashore to come receive on behalf of Lagos branch.
Adyan Design, on behalf of Adyan Lagos branch, we like to present our work to Masoro, Sisters of Nigeria. Lagos branch, we will wonderful support to see the Zakumulawu, Hayden, now I tell Allah continue to bless the branch.
Group photograph, please. Group photograph. Our members of the panel next session. Okay, and the chairman of the committee, Dr. Moise Fashola, to come give the closing remarks.
Don't give magistrate. Don't pass it. Another thing I'm one for no, honorable another one. Branch. Be biological is this case. What do you for SS and editorial? So when they sit down, back to give them.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dr. Fashola Abdulaziz. I'm the chairman of the 17th edition of our annual leadership seminar. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone, all our participants, our panelists, our moderators, our special guests, all our sponsors and partners. We say thank you. Jazakumullah khairan. We also want to one special the MDC of Lotus Bank in person of Dr. Isaka Adyan. Thank you very much. Also Mr. Saeed Bashir. Thank you very much. We also want to thank Dr. Saeed Ahmad. Senior colleague. Thank you very much, sir. Also Dr. Akim Monoso. I think it was going to come today before, so it was a big surprise. Thank you very much. Mrs. Professor Akamo Balogun, thank you very much. And Angela Kabira Kabira, thank you very much.
والحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك ولم يكن له ولي من الذل وتكبيره تكبيرا سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا اله الا الله الله اكبر الله اكبر الله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم من ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك الرحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين ربنا افرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا